Hi, my friends. I'm Miss Emily, and I want to welcome you back to Wonderful Wednesday. If you were here with us for Meet the Animals Monday with Miss Kelsey, you probably learned a little bit about bat wings and how bats move. One of the things that I think is wonderful about our world is that there are so many different kinds of animals that move in different ways. And even though our bodies might look really different, there are a lot of similarities that we can't always see from the outside. If we look at the forelimbs of a bat, a whale, a cat, and a human, we can see that even though one flies and one swims, and one runs around the house at 3 a.m. for no reason, and one pulls, pushes, and grasps things, you can still see that the bones in their forelimbs are in the same basic arrangement. If we look even more closely at the human hand, we see that our fingers are made up of rows of tiny bones called phalanges. That comes from the word phalanx, a Greek term for a group of soldiers closely lined up while marching in rows. That's similar to how the small bones of our fingers are also lined up in rows. In order to do this project, you'll need some craft foam or cardboard, some glue, you need 5 plastic straws, some yarn or string, 5 plastic craft beads, a hole punch, some scissors, and if you don't want to use regular glue, you can try hot glue, but make sure you've got an adult to help you. You do not, however, need a very unhelpful cat in order to do this project. All right, so once you've got all your materials together, let's just take a quick minute to look at our own hands. When you move your fingers, you'll notice that there are these lines on the back of your hands that move. Those are called tendons. So all the muscles in our bodies have tendons, which is what attaches them to bones and keeps them from flopping all over the place. Our finger bones don't have any muscles attached to them, but they do have tendons that attach to all the muscles in our hand. So when you move your fingers, it's not your finger muscles moving them, it's actually your hand muscles, and the tendons are pulling them. That's what we're going to be doing with this activity. We're going to be using the straws as our finger bones, and the green, or in my case green, thread is going to represent the tendons that pull our fingers. So the first step is to put your hand flat on your foam or your cardboard, whichever one you're using, and trace your hand out. Make sure you leave enough room so that your fingers aren't super skinny. Step 2 is to cut out your hand. Be careful with the scissors. For step 3, I laid my finger on top of the foam, and I just made a tiny little mark where each one of my knuckles were. Our knuckles are joints. Those are places where all of our bones come together. So you want to make sure that on your model fingers are bending in the same places where your real fingers would bend. Next, I put the straw next to those tiny marks, and I just made marks so that I would know exactly where to cut the straw. So the next step is to take your hole punch and just halfway through the straw, you don't want to go all the way through it, but halfway through the straw, cut out a little bit of space. That will allow the straw to bend just like your knuckles bend. Next, I took the green thread and I started at the bottom of my straw and I went up. So you take the thread or the yarn and you go it through the end that is farther away from those holes and you thread it up. Once you get it to the top, pull a little bit of extra thread out of the top and then run it through one of those plastic beads. The only reason I do this is so that the thread doesn't slip out of the straw and it gives you some tension. Here comes the really fun part. Whether you're using hot glue or regular glue, you want to dab that in between those knuckle marks that you made on your hand. Then take your straw, make sure you keep those holes facing upwards. You press it down onto the glue, give it a little tap there so that you know it sticks in place. You also want to make a line of glue down the length of the hand so that you're supporting and keeping the rest of the straw in place there. You might have noticed on the final product that I took the pinky and the thumbs and I trimmed those straws a little bit so that they wouldn't overlap with the straws of the other hand. So that's just an extra step you can do to make your hand look a little tidier. Once you're done, and do make sure that your glue has dried or your hot glue has cooled off a little bit. But once you're done, you can take those strings that are hanging down and you can use them to tell somebody to hook them horns. Or if you're feeling pretty cool, you just might want to give somebody the peace sign, or you could even give them thumbs up. So whatever you want to do with that hand, all you have to do is pull on those strings at the bottom, and that will move each individual finger. So now you have made a replica of the bones and tendons of an actual hand. All right, my friends, thanks so much for joining me for another wonderful Wednesday. Come back tomorrow for Thoughtful Thursday with Miss Lily. She'll go from talking about fingers to talking about wings. And of course, come back next Wednesday. We will revisit metamorphosis and we'll create a creature called a caddisfly. So if all that sounds good, give me a thumbs up. Yeah? All right. I'll see you all next wonderful Wednesday. Bye.